Good morning and welcome to a brand new week. I'm Mr. Lai, and coming up this morning on the AM show, we have our tabs on the situation in communities along the coast in Keta and Aloga, where the sea had found its way onto the land and left many homeless. Though Keta and its environs have been dealing with this tidal wave phenomenon for a while now, this latest incident at dawn seems to have been a lot worse and affected a lot more people. We'll be live in the community as we speak with our correspondent and the authorities there about what is being done to help affected residents. Now, it's also been raining in parts of the country, and so we're also looking at that as well. Probably we'll have to check in with the Ghana Meteo and get to understand how much downpour we had to deal with. But if you're out there and you're affected as a result of the rain, do let us know. We also have a date with the National Identification Authority on the many concerns that you have about getting your Ghana card. It's a follow-up to the last conversation we had with the authorities some weeks ago when they told us their offices in the district will become operational in November. Though the offices have been opened, there's a schedule that people would have to follow. The authority will be here to explain and answer your questions, many of which have come through so far on Facebook. Now, the prelims of the NSMQ 2021 Championship are over, and the schools that will be in the final in Kumasi should be known. We'll bring you the very latest updates on that. And have you ever wondered how Ghana's entertainment industry can help the fight against climate change? Join IB as they interact with Ochiame Kwame and Rocky Dauni, who are in Glasgow for the COP26 summit. Yes, they're part of the Ghana delegation. Yeah, the 337. We have all that and more coming up. To stay tuned in.
Hello, good morning and welcome to the AM News with me, Mapisa Sibiri. Now, first story, Municipal Chief Executive of the Keta Municipal Assembly, Emmanuel Gemega, says government and other benevolent organizations must urgently come to the aid of residents in the municipality after high waves swept homes away. Now, the high waves, which occurred in the early hours of Sunday, has rendered about 3,000 residents homeless. We'll hear from him shortly. First, let's listen to the affected residents.
We are homeless and our daily activities are affected by the waves. We are hoping that help comes through you, the DC.
Let's hear from the MCE, Emmanuel Gemega, who's appealing for immediate support after touring the area.
That has entered their rooms, their homes, and they have been dislodged. So, schools, this has affected about 3 electoral areas along the coast within the municipality. And it's a very, very serious situation that we have experienced over here. Though we know it's a perennial situation, but this year's one, it has delayed, so we're not even expecting it to happen again. But just to see this happening this morning is very devastating, and we can only call for help, an emergency help from anybody, from the government, and then from individual philanthropists, NGOs, when you are seeing us, because the people have been dislodged, their rooms, their kitchen, their economic activities have been disrupted. Therefore, it's very, very important that we come to their aid as early as possible. All farms have been swept away, and for now, everybody is perplexed.
The Ghana Health Service say the country may easily erode the gains made in the fight against COVID-19 if citizens fail to adhere to safety protocols. Director of Public Health at the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Sedi Beku, wants Ghanaians to strictly follow the protocols to halt the surge in numbers. He was speaking at the inauguration of the high dependency unit for COVID-19 patients at St. Dominic Hospital in the Eastern Region. Correspondent Kofi Siao reports.
The creation of the High Dependency Unit for COVID-19 is part of the Commonwealth Development Support for 40 districts through the COVID-19 Response and Institutional Capacity Building Project. The program, funded by the Foreign Commonwealth Office, seeks to support the government of Ghana's response to COVID-19. It will also strengthen Ghana's health system to maintain the delivery of essential healthcare services and mobilize all available resources for COVID-19 response action. Currently, the project is undertaken within Christian Health Association's hospital in 40 districts across 15 out of the 16 regions. Addressing a gathering to commission and hand over the facility to the hospital, the British High Commissioner Harriet Thompson says there is a need to attach all seriousness in the fight against COVID-19 after over 5 million people succumbed to the deadly virus globally.
Other UK bilateral support to Ghana for COVID-19 includes specialist expertise such as seconding a UK emergency medical team case management specialist to WHO in Ghana, support to epidemiological modelling of the pandemic and detecting COVID-19 variants and oxygen concentrators for COVID-19 treatment. Over 5.4 million people have been provided with information to minimise COVID-19 infection risk. Globally, we have pledged up to £1.3 billion of UK aid towards global actions to contain the pandemic.
The administrator of the St. Dominic's Hospital, Reverend Father Ebenezer Aban, commended the United Kingdom for contributing tremendously in supporting quality healthcare delivery in the country.
Team, I wish to extend our profound gratitude to the leadership of CHAG for the selection of St. Dominic Hospital as a participant of the CREEP initiative.
The Director of Public Health of the Ghana Health Services, Dr. Esiedu Bequin, encouraged Ghanaians to get vaccinated to help curb the spread of the virus after expressing worry over surge in COVID-19 cases.
As I speak now, we have more than 10 million vaccines. The government's or the president's promise was that we want to vaccinate 20 million Ghanaians. There was a point in time that we had a challenge about access to vaccines, but now we have a lot of vaccines. There's also another challenge, people taking the vaccines. So that's a challenge. But luckily, I hear through the help of Omahine, Nana, and others, Akotia has very low hesitancy. But we need a vaccine to be sure that we are safe from COVID.
Kofi Sian reporting from Akwatia in the Eastern region.
President Akufo-Addo is asking the Public Utility and Regulatory Commission (PRC) to wean itself from the perception that is only interested in reviewing utility tariffs. According to him, the Commission should step up its other functions, especially in protecting the interest of consumers, to ensure they enjoy quality service. The President's charge comes as he saw in the governing board of the PRC at a ceremony at the Jubilee House.
One of the most notable functions as seen by most Ghanaians to be effectively discharged by the PURC has to do with the review of utility tariffs, almost invariably in an upward manner. It would appear that the other functions, primarily to do with the protection of the interests of the consumer and the delivery of quality services by utility providers, have been largely overlooked by the PURC. This perception can no longer be allowed to fester. It must change. As the newly constituted board, and in accordance with Act 538, the Ghanaian people demand that you protect their interests. In consonance with Section 13 of the Act, I urge you to ensure that where a public utility provider fails to meet any required standard of performance, it is appropriately and duly sanctioned.
Meanwhile, bulk power producing company Gridco is optimistic its completed projects will resolve the inefficiencies within the electricity supply chain as well as impact positively on the economy. System Operations Director at Gridco, Engineer Mark Barr, has been speaking on this at the Information Ministry's Meets the Press series.
Residents and businesses within Accra and Kumasi can look forward to an even more stable electricity supply. As power producing company Gridco says, it's completed works on some bulk supply stations. Systems Operation Director at Gridco, Engineer Mark Ewaba, says these changes will improve power supply, especially in these heavy power-dependent areas.
We had a transmission line from Abuazi all the way to Tema. but the demand is in Accra. So when the power goes to Tema, it then reverses back to Accra. What Pokuase is doing is that it is bringing the power right to Accra. And when it does that, losses are reduced because you don't have to go to Tema and return. So that is the beauty of Pokuase. And then secondly, the Pokuase now is the biggest substation we have in Ghana. So to the extent that if we have challenges, even at Malam, ECG is able to supply Malam load from Pokuase so that the people of Malam will not have to suffer. Kumasi, gone are the days when from 2 p.m., March, April, May, June, July, half of Kumasi will have to go down. Otherwise, the entire system will collapse. And it was consistent every day. That was a big issue. I mean, if you were living in Kumasi, the discomfort in the midst of heat, following the completion of the entire stretch of the 330 kV circuit, that problem has been resolved. We don't have to take off Kumasi consistently. Kumasi is like the center of Ghana. So when Kumasi catches cold, Ghana coughs. So we have to make sure supply in Kumasi is well stabilized.
Additionally, Gridco announced the completion of a $200 million major transmission line from the southern sector to the northern. According to engineer Iwaba, Gridco is working closely with other partners in the energy sector to make it more financially viable.
Things are better now in terms of cash flow, though we always want more, because indeed when you are doing this business, you need a lot of money to ensure that tomorrow you can meet the customer's need, and you need more money to do that. So we are thankful that the cash waterfall mechanism is in place and is working, and we will work to improve upon it so that we'll be financially sustainable.
However, the bulk power producing company says the activities of encroachers and the transmission lines have proven a difficult problem to solve over the years. It has announced, therefore, a new partnership with national security to evict such persons.
Encroachers, that is a big challenge. You've seen or observed people practically living under our transmission lines. Some time back, we cleared from Adringano, East Legon, through to Fiesta Royale. You try to clear, and before you know it, it starts growing up again. But this is something we are still working on. Sometimes it borders on the security of our staff. So we are now working with national security to make sure that we nip this in the bud. This has to be resolved.
Michael Papani Ashali's report for Joy News.
Vice Chairman of Parliament's Finance Committee, Patrick Yaw-Boama, says he's not expecting major tax increases in the 2022 budget. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta is scheduled to appear before Parliament on 15 November to present the 2022 budget. But even before the presentation, there are calls on government to abandon any idea of introducing new taxes. Mr. Boama observes that the 2022 budget would reflect the aspirations of the Ghanaian people.
Last budget was an example that the government listens to the cry of the people. There were no major increases in taxes. You can attest to that. And I don't expect any major increases in taxes in the coming budget. What I can assure Ghanaians is that we are politicians. We listen to our reps, our constituents. We are their reps, our representatives in Parliament. And we have serious oversight over the executive and what they do. That is why we're able to water down a lot of things that comes to us. So we can assure them on our part, on our side, as Parliament and as the Finance Committee, that we'll be taking very good decisions on behalf of the good people of this country, taking into account the economic situation. So I can assure you that the Finance Committee will be up and doing, and I don't believe that government will also hang anything heavy on the necks of Ghanaians.
But from the grapevine, you are told that there is still a possibility of tax increases.
I don't know of any grapevine. Maybe you do, I don't. I don't anticipate any increments in those sectors. Otherwise, the Minister of Energy will be leading the discussion to prepare the minds of Ghanaians. I haven't heard the Minister of Energy speak on any tax increases or any levy increases in the energy sector. Neither have I heard any of his deputies canvassing that position. So maybe it's Mr. Chidako's own discussion that he's holding. I haven't followed his tweet, and I don't know what led to that tweet, but to the best of my knowledge, nothing of such is coming out. You see, if we want to discuss the issue about realistic tariffs, then people will have to suffer in this country. But government always finds a way to cushion the plight of the people. Especially, you recall that the Minister of Energy, through Cabinet, have decided to reduce some levies on petroleum. You recall. So that is being taken through the process, and the net effect will be felt by the ordinary Ghanaian consumer. That is a listening and working government, in my view, because you cannot have citizens that you are ruling who are always complaining about certain aspects of the economy. So you have to do your own evaluation and come out with proposals that will lessen the burden on Ghanaians. It's not as if Ghanaians are saying they cannot pay taxes or they don't want to pay taxes, but they want to look at how relaxed the tax regime is to enable them pay according to their earnings. That's what I believe Ghanaians are asking for.
And our last story, two brands of the multimedia group, Joy and Adom, have received the Chartered Institute of Marketing Ghana, CIMG, National President Special Awards 2020. Now, the Ekosisi Sing show on Asempa FM has also been adjudged Radio Program of the Year, the second of such honors in just 3 years. There's more in this report.
Station starts by noting
what began as a single radio station in 1995 is today the nation's largest radio, television and online network in sub-Saharan Africa.
It further adds,
one of your key jingles Ghanaians have come to like is Radio Get Result, which has been used intricately to your advantage.
The citation goes on to list some of the many stories which have gotten results through the Joy platform,
including the visually impaired farmer in the Volta region whose plight was aired and as a result got accommodation. The story of an old woman suffering from leprosy in the Upper West region who got a home built for her by the Vice President following a Joy News report. Joy News campaign that raised 500,000 cities for people affected by floods in the northern region, as well as the station's Drive Safe campaign, which the CIMG says has been very impactful.
Head of programs at Joy FM, Adam Naite, promised the brand will continue to do more to impact lives.
We are humbled and we're grateful to everybody, our clients, our audiences, and our partners all over the world. We're grateful to everybody, and this only means that we need to continue to do more.
Host of Ekosi saying, Philip Osei-Bonsu, popularly known as Obi, also assured listeners the award will propel them to keep raising the bar.
To be honest, I'm very proud. I think this can only encourage us. Mekaise 2019, Bahaba Beji Radio Program of the Year, and 2021, so Yasin Babeji, 2 times in 3 years, which is quite huge. At the MIA.
Chancellor of the University of Ghana, Mary Chinwe-Hesse, who was a special guest of honor, urged companies to establish strong brands which will positively influence their clientele.
Brand management is so important whilst not playing anything down, that we make sure that Ghana thrives in a competitive environment because things Ghanaians are known and loved and wanted. And then we push and we'll be okay. We are very modest as Ghanaians. We don't blow our own trumpet. But in this very competitive world, please, let's put Christian modesty aside and boast a little bit. That's all I'm asking for.
Congratulations once again to Multimedia Joy Brands.
That's how we end the AM News. For more news, you can log into myjoyonline.com. My name is Mapito CBD.
All right, good morning. You're still here on the AM show, and we're getting into the newspapers. Well, this morning, I'm doing it all by myself. Oh, of course. I'm joined by Joseph Akabele, who's joining via Zoom. Good morning to you, Joseph.
I hope you are doing well, far better than Accra Hearts of Oak.
Oh, really? So you're also, wanting to rub it in. But hold on. I mean, what is it about Accra Hearts of Oak? Accra Hearts of Oak didn't lose.
Well, the fact of the matter is that Accra Hearts of Oak have 2 points out of a possible 6. Commercial and Gridco, your main rivals, have 6 points out of a possible 6.
No, but
so that is what we are discussing now.
Oh, no, hold on. Okay, so we tend to usually start the season slow. It was the same thing last season, and we ended up winning. So
I suspected that would be your response. I mean, but
yeah,
are you happy that you have just 2 points from 6 points?
Oh, don't worry. We'll come round. So, yes, Kotoko may be doing very well now, but yeah. From Frontier or Die, they say, right? Okay. Let's get into the newspapers. Which stories do you have? Which newspapers do you have?
I have a number of them, but I'll touch on the Daily Statesman.
Okay.
I'll also look at that of the Chronicle. Yeah, those 2 papers.
Do we have any of the newspapers talking about the Ghana's delegation to COP26?
None of them. It's been a story that has dominated mainly on social media so far.
Okay. All right, we can touch on that at some point. I'm sure it's going to be on my Joy Online. We'll look for that. But yes, I'll start with the Daily Graphic. So on the front page of the Daily Graphic, we have 2022 pre-budget survey, support SMEs to grow. That's KPMG saying that. And then Graphic wins Media Organization of the Year award again. And that's coming from the CIMG awards, which happened over the weekend. There's been a number of awards. We'll run through some of them, but I'll start with the support SMEs to grow. That's KPMG saying that. They're saying a pre-budget survey has revealed that a section of the public, especially those in the business community, expects the 2022 budget statement to create an enabling environment for small and medium enterprises, SMEs, to easily access credit. Majority of respondents in the survey said easy access to credit would help SMEs grow, expand, and create more jobs and be competitive in the market. And rightly so, especially when the finance minister says he's urging a lot more of young ones to get into entrepreneurship. So certainly there should be something that they can count on in the 2022 budget. Akabele?
Certainly, and I mean, since that particular speech, a lot of people have been sharing various views on it. We actually understand from government sources that, I mean, one of the themes of this upcoming budget will be your own boss, and they intend to outline various programs that will help people to set up their own jobs, and so we wait to see how that will be.
All right. Okay, so and on page 5, to honor memory of Fela Kuti in London. And 98 dead after Freetown tanker explosion. And that's a story that also came out over the weekend. At least 98 people have died after a massive explosion when a fuel tanker collided with a lorry in Sierra Leone's capital, Freetown. Fuel spilled before igniting, and the resulting inferno engulfed bystanders and vehicles at a busy junction. Footage broadcast by local media outlets showed badly charred bodies in the streets surrounding the tanker, After visiting the scene, Vice President Mohammed Julde Jallo said it was a national disaster. And just this morning, I'm learning that, or the BBC is announcing that the president has declared state 3 days of mourning for the victims. All right, moving on. 12 arrested after fleeing emergency plane landing. And that's happening in Madrid, Spain. U.S. Navy launches ship named after gay activists. There are a few more stories here. Okay, so on page 13, they said every man has prostate. What is wrong with yours? It's just a reminder that people, especially if you're approaching the age of 40, you should be checking your prostate. And the story on the Graphic Wings Media Organization of the Year award again is on page 16. So history was repeated on Saturday night when the Graphic Communications Group Limited once again clinched the prestigious Media Organization of the Year award at the 32nd National Marketing Performance Awards. GMA advocates driver education against crashes. That's a front page story. Is on page 16. And in other stories, digitalization holds key to economic development. That's Dr. Boaku Gideon Boaku, a leading member of the New Patriotic Party, and he's with the Vice President's office. So he says, I dare say that digitalization is making it possible for many jobs to be created in both the private and public sectors. And this conversation has been going on since the Vice President gave that speech at Ashesi University. And people have been linking it to lots of things, and many conversations have been spread on the back of that. On page 19, I'm overwhelmed by support in Tim Tel's grassroots. It says, I am totally overwhelmed by the support and love the delegates showed me in each of the 16 regions where I was present for delegates conferences, and I want to use this opportunity to thank them for their support. And Adaklu Assembly members reject new DCE nominee. 5 core students in police grip over murder of schoolmates. That's a story that also broke over the weekend. So 5 students of the Konongo Odumase Senior High School in the Asante Achim South District in the Ashanti region are in the grip of the police for their involvement in the death of 17-year-old Lahan Sam Uma, a Form 1 student of the school. Essentially, the boy was stabbed to death because in what is being described as an attempt to bully the young boy. That story also broke on Joy News over the weekend. And in regional stories, ECG inaugurates Adidome Abo Customer Service Centers, and judges lament continuous seeking of adjournments. Let's move on to the other stories that we have in the Gridco, national security to eject squatters under transmission lines. So we're talking of 161,000 to 330,000 volts. Ordinary 220 volts in our homes can easily kill people. So you can imagine thousands of volts. So the Ghana Grid Company is talking about collaborating with the national security to eject squatters and traders who apply the activities under the company's transmission line. So the Gridco has in the past been trying to get rid of structures that spring up under these pylons, but now they're saying that they're going after the people who apply the traders, squatters and traders who apply the activities there. Also on page 32, ECOWAS appoints Chambers special envoy to Guinea. We're moving to the center spread, I believe. Where there's a news feature, COP26, why Ghana's still voice needs loud response. And Miss Agriculture Ghana entices young ladies into agric. Opong Nkrumah engages young entrepreneurs, and Communications Minister and a digital leader of the year. And COVID-19 has shown us that after God comes technology, hence the need to celebrate industry players and organizations who are driving the digital agenda. So it was at an award organized by Keta. And moving on to the other stories that we have in the daily graphic, before I come to you, Joseph, who is standing by with the other stories in the other newspapers. Why considering interventions to reduce exam malpractices? And 6-unit classroom block inaugurated at Keta. Children growing up in conflict areas worrying. That's a Swedish ambassador. And government cautions public about QNet. The victims are stripped of their valuables, held hostages under squalid conditions, and forced to commit to QNet services by signing a contract under duress. So I'll bring you a bit of this story. So the government has cautioned the public, especially the youth, to be wary of the activities of QNet, a company that claims to offer jobs in some African countries. The Deputy Minister of Information, Ms. Fatimatu Abubakar, told a news conference in Accra yesterday the victims of QNet ended up as hostages in Cote d'Ivoire, Togo, Mali, and other countries under deplorable conditions. So you have been warned. You need to be wary of this organization, QNet. They say UDS honors Na Al Hassan and Dani. And see which of the stories we have. In business, interest rates will drop. Republic Bank MD optimistic. Engineering Council Board inaugurated. And constitutional relief for wrongful conviction imprisonment too. That's a methodology of compensation. That's an opinion piece here in the Daily Graphic. And coexist for development. Sudoku chiefs urges subjects. The McCarthy Hill residents sue to stop cement factory. Now in sports, Destiny are for Milo as Stars Bafana battle for World Cup slots. Awako's transfer saga only have no case, as Pobi Jonathan Pobi, a veteran football administrator, saying that AU approves Ghana as 2023 African host games. And on the back page, this will excite you, Joseph Akable. Kotokotem Bechem United at
I'm waiting for you to get there.
So Kotokotem Bechem United at Babayara Stadium and the Legon City's PIP RTU 3-2. So here are the scores from the Ghana Premier League matches played over the weekend. Kotoko 2, Bechem United 0, Adriana 1, King Faisal 3, Chelsea 0, Wonders 11 Wonders 0, Wafa 1, House of Oak 1, it was a drawn game. Elmina Sharks 1, Dreams 3, Ashanti Gold 1, Karela 1, Legon Cities 3, RTU 2, Olympics versus Lions late kickoff, and Mediama versus Gold Stars will be played tomorrow. Okay, so Akable, you're happy, right?
I mean, you are reporting the news. I mean, just facts only. So I don't have any emotions attached, but
okay,
they are very good stories indeed that we brought us. But some other stories in terms of the headlines, I have that of the Daily Statesman. It reports 5 students in police custody over murder of colleague. The Ghana Police Service actually issued a statement late last night. They are saying that they will arraign the students this morning, and gives additional details that these were students who were engaged in a bullying spree, and they attempted to bully that particular student, and there was a bit of a resistance, and so they attacked the Form 1 students, and that resulted in one of them who had a knife using it to stab that particular student they were trying to bully, and so they'll be taken to court this morning. Government committed to quality education, Baumia assures, also on the front page of the Daily Statesman, and President meets ECOWAS leaders over Guinea and Mali. You can find the details of that story in the Daily Statesman. To the Chronicle now, the front page reports that daring gunmen shoots naval officer close to Michel Camp and boat with his 800 cities. And Mali sinking into crisis is also one of the headlines from that particular ECOWAS engagement. And man 38 jailed 20 years for attempting to sodomize a minor. And KMA uses 240k BRT cash to pay S Gracia. Gridco warns public don't stay under transmission lines. Also on the front page of the Chronicle. The back page has some sports stories, and Neymar Mbappe's score in PSG win, and Mourinho's Roma shocked by Minos Venezia also on the back page, and City win comfortably in Manchester Derby. And I was reading a bit on that particular Man City story, and Man City played 90 minutes with the same 11 players that they started the game with, and the coach was asked why he didn't substitute any player. He said the team were just comfortable and there was no need to substitute any player. So those are from the headlines from the Chronicle and the Daily Statesman as well.
Well, yeah, and Liverpool also lost to West Ham.
Yes, West Ham, yeah. Very, in fact, their first defeat in quite a while. And,
in 25 matches apparently.
Yeah, and West Ham are currently third on the league log. Very interesting position there.
Anyway, but Chelsea is right there on top of it, and of course the Chelsea fans are happy that Liverpool lost, because then they maintain the gap on top of the.
Now, unfortunately, they drew with Burnley. If they had won, they could have extended the lead a bit.
Exactly.
Especially when Liverpool lost.
Okay, so one of the stories that you brought, the incident in Kumasi, the course involving the course student, where the young boy was bullying the fellow student, the Form 1 student. Now, it brings to question the kind of training that these young boys are having in their homes. This is a conversation that we had several times, and it seems we can't seem to get around this problem, and these things will continue to happen. You may think that, okay, so this is happening in whatever is happening in someone's home doesn't concern you, but here's a case where if someone is not being trained very well and they believe that it's okay to pull out a knife and stab another student to death, your kid in school or your child in school is in danger, even though, yes, that child who stabbed the fellow student didn't come from your home, or you really don't know, and you can't be bothered about the kind of upbringing they're having. So yes, let's continue to have these conversations about bringing up these children the right way, because
absolutely. And I mean, obviously people always make the point that and we both know that bullying has been around for a while. I mean, it's something that goes on in the high schools. That is very bad. I personally have terrible experience of being bullied all over. I mean, it's something I never did when I was in final year, and I always try to intervene on people's behalf. It's simply assault and battery. Why do you want to beat someone up, to toughen them, to create some non-existent SHS culture that after school becomes nothing? I mean, people bully us, we see them after school, and we are all friends. I mean, some of them, we help them. Some of them, they help us. I mean, so there's really no culture that we want to really maintain in the form of that bullying, which is purely crime.
ECOWAS condemns a terrorist attack in Mali. Tidal waves wreak havoc again, sweep through Adina, Mutinu, Blekusu in Keta South municipality. And this is a conversation we're going to be having on the AM show. 600 residents rendered homeless. That's what the Ghanaian Times is reporting, but we're understanding that it's quite a bit more. There's a photograph of some residents coming out of a flooded room. So the people just woke up one morning and one dawn, and the sea had made its way into their homes, just like that. And most of those areas are actually under sea level, so it's very easy once the sea breaches and makes its way into the land or onto the land, then there's certainly going to be a problem. Let me look for that story and how the Ghanaian Times is capturing that. It's on page 17. So yes, about 600 residents of Adina coastal community in the Keta South municipality of the Volta region were yesterday displaced when the ravaging sea swept through their homes and destroyed property. This followed a similar incident at a nearby area, Amutinu, on Saturday, when the sea water finally ran across the Keta road to wreak havoc in many homes. At least 43 homes were filled with massive volumes of water during the dreadful phenomenon the Ghanaian Times has gathered. So yes, it was widely reported here on Joy News, on the Joy News channel, and on Joy FM as well. And we'll be having a conversation. We're getting to find out what's the very latest is on that story. Then Irish youth attack Akachi police over death of suspect in custody. 2 suspects in custody over robbery at a denta. And then police launch manhunt for man 40 for attacking ex-girlfriend with hammer. All right. Ethiopia urges soldiers to fight against rebels. Dozens convicted as Italy begins huge mafia trial. And the incident in Sierra Leone is here also in the Ghanaian Times. Scores dead in Sierra Leone tanker explosion. CRI adjudged CIMG not-for-profit making organization of the year 2020. So that's a child-centered organization, Child Rights International, has been adjudged by the non-for-profit making organization of the year. This year's Chartered Institute of Marketing Ghana, CIMG Awards. And is wearing of nose mask abandoned, though COVID-19 still exists? That's the question. It's a feature in the Ghanaian Times. And yes, if you look around town, a lot of people have abandoned the nose mask. But yes, COVID is still very much around, and we're warned that if we don't, or we let our guard down, we probably may be having if a fourth wave comes through, it may be severe for us. So please don't abandon your nose mask. Now, review of Kwesi Redu's philosophy through the cultural lenses is a feature in the Ghanaian Times. Rejection of MCE triggers tension between chiefs, assembly members. Okay, that's on page 11. Let's get to COP26. Ghana submits updated document on global warming to UN Climate Change Secretariat, and China resources into production of goods services for benefit of African continent. That Dr. T. And IFRG holds confab on rising debt in Ghana. That's a Islamic Finance Research Institute, Ghana. Okay, UDS introducing new courses to help address countries' development. And President opens Jethro Country Office. CK Keta University scraps admission form fees. Okay, that's interesting. To enable poor, needy students to access institution. That's interesting. The CK Keta University of Technology and Applied Sciences, CK UTAS in Navrongo, has scrapped admission form fees to enable poor and needy students seek admission into the institution at no cost. That's good. Prospective applicants with the entry requirements are only expected to log on to the website and complete the admission form online. So those of you seeking tertiary education, CK Tedam University is not charging you any admission form fees. Ghanaian teacher among 10 finalists vying for $1 million Global Teacher Prize 2021. Governor touts importance of corporate governance in building businesses, and economic management teams receive thumbs up. All right. Some OMCs increase fuel prices at the pumps. Yes, I know this is something that you have been following, and I've seen you posting photos of the billboards at many of the at some of the filling stations, and the fact that we're now, it started with Total that went to 690, so they increased the fuel price to 690, and then Goil has subsequently also gone up.
Over the weekend, I was telling someone that a liter of petrol will break the 8 before anyone attempts to break the 8, and so it's rising quite fast. And the transport operators, that's the issue of major concern now. They're actually monitoring keenly, and they may adjust prices to reflect, because obviously they're spending more now. And once that happens, you know the effect it will have on all aspects of human life. Those who sell, and those who go to anything they do, they always move around in a vehicle, and so obviously everyone will be affected. And unfortunately, we spoke to the MP on Friday, and they make the point that there's really nothing that government can do at this point in time, unless it decides to again scrap some more subsidies or come in to attempt to cushion the consumers. Beyond that, really nothing can be done, especially because of the rise in world prices.
Okay, so yes, you can say there's pretty little that government can do, but yes, government can also decide to scrap some of the taxes, because yes, if you look at the tax component of the fuel price, it's quite significant, so it can be scrapped. But then the argument too is, if government decides to scrap the taxes, then some other things are going to suffer. Government would have to spend the taxes, the revenue that comes from taxes to develop and to pay for other things. But if you scrap it, then those things would have to sacrifice those ones. So yeah. Let's get to sports. Pressure mounts on Ole after Derby defeat. So there are those who are saying that Ole should go. There are others who are saying we should give him a chance and Ole should stay. GFA police brainstorm on sports security, and on the back page, yeah, the local sports stories which we already talked about. So Joseph.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what is happening with Manchester United and Ole. I mean, they've kept too long. They should have been sacked long ago. Just like how Barcelona should have sacked Koeman long ago, and they eventually did. We saw when Chelsea immediately sacked Frank Lampard, and we saw how things turned around for them. They saved their season, and they went on to win a Champions League, the season that many didn't expect them to do. But sometimes radical change is the only way of getting success.
Why do you think Man U still keeping faith with Ole?
I think it's the Sir Alex Ferguson experience. You know, the record shows that from his initial seasons in charge of Manchester United, they were not doing quite well. The team kept faith with him, and then eventually the team got better. But I mean, football has changed very much. Then the other aspect is also the fact that he's a club legend. He's one who scored a crucial goal that won them the Champions League. So they want to trust that things can get better. And he started quite well. The first 6 months when he came from Mode and he handled Manchester United, he did so well for the half of the season. And so they think that things may well change. And it's that weight that is still dragging. And at some point, and he knows how to stay on the job. He loses a while and all of a sudden he wants to get him sacked and he starts winning again.
Yeah, all right. So that'll be about it. But let me quickly bring you. We'll be going to my Joy Online in a bit. But let me bring you the front page of the Business and Financial Times. We have Edith Dankwa, a CIMG Marketing Woman of the Year 2020. MTN CEO wins Marketing Man of the Year. BNFT also adjudged Digital Media Organization of the Year. There's a photo of Edith Dankwa of BNFT on the front page of Business and Financial Times. It's a giant one. So this is what the BNFT is looking like this morning. All right, and then fear grips over 2 million peasant farmers as government hints are gradually removing fertilizer subsidy. And subsidy already cut twice in 2021 crop season. Cost of fertilizer projected to hit 300 Ghana cedis in open markets. Let's get to the business info. All right, I actually have the daily guide. Let me quickly do the front page. MPs dodge Parliament. Protect consumers, president charges PRC, SHS student staff student to death. If anyone was around, I'm sure she'll be doing the entertainment stories. Police GFA talk sports security, that's on the back page. And late goals send Kotoko to top. All right, let's get to my Joy Online right now. Let's see what stories we have there. So yes, tidal waves render about 3,000 homeless in Keta. And then videos from Adinkra Pai CEO's wedding that has got many talking. And then playback, the police discusses the week's big issue. The probe discusses the week's big issues. Konongo Domasi SHS murder suspects to appear in court on November 8. We have installed over 5,200 megawatts plant capacity Gridco. Videos from Adinkra Pai CEO's wedding. That's got many talking. So you can get to my Joy Online, see those videos. Adinkra Pai CEO ties the knot in Kente embellished wedding, and CIMG touts Joy Brands as radio gets results jingle as impacting lives. And we're spending $17 million to boost capacity of transmission lines between Tema Accra. That's Gridco saying that. And of course, congratulations to the Joy Brands with the award at the CIMG Awards over the weekend. Joseph Akabele, congratulations to you and all of us here.
Yeah, and the Kosi Saint team as well.
Oh, yeah.
Winning the best political talk show program. It's a fantastic program. One of my favorite programs here.
Okay, so to Osebunsu and Dominic is here, and the rest of the team there handling that, we say congratulations to you. But thank you very much, Joseph, for joining us for the news review. Have a wonderful day. And yeah, Crowds of Focus is going to bounce back, don't worry.
Yeah, we do.
All right, you're still here on the AM show. We're taking a break to bring you sports, but as I indicated, we're going to be having the conversation about what's happening in Keta and the surrounding communities where the tidal waves are wreaking havoc there. We're learning about 3,000 people have been rendered homeless. We'll get to understand what the situation is and what is being done for those people who have been affected. Also, we have the National Identification Authority coming into the studio. Many of you have had your questions about the Ghana card, and you're wondering where, if they're saying that the district offices have been open, where can you locate the district offices, and many other questions that you have. You're saying that there are changes to your name on the card and all of that. We're going to have them in the studio, and they're going to be answering all your questions. So you can send your questions actually ahead. We have a post on Facebook, and many have sent in their questions, posted their questions already. We're taking some more questions. At some point, we're going to also open the phone lines and let you also ask your questions directly, put your questions directly to the NIA. Up next, we're bringing you sports. Stay tuned in.
Have you ever for once thought that football fans in any of the Ghana Premier League centers would have the temerity of spraying pepper on referees due to the outcome of a game against their favorite team? Well, GFA President Keta has called on the IGP and his team to sanitize the football community. And in talking of Ghana Premier League, after 180 minutes of football, Asante Kotoko have scored 5 goals in the last 10 minutes of the first 2 matches. The Porcupines once again needed another last 6 minutes drama to edge Bechem United. In the English Premier League, Liverpool suffered their first defeat of the season and first in 25 matches in a 5-goal thriller against West Ham United. Good morning, everyone. This is AM Sports, and I am Muftau Nabila Abdullah. Let's start with Ghana Premier League stories, where Asante Kotoko scored a pair of late goals to edge Bechem United 2-0 on Sunday and marked their return to Baoyan Stadium with a hard-fought win. In Accra, Maxwell Abekwe scored a hat-trick to hand Great Olympics their first win of the season against Accra Lions. Whilst in Obuasi, it was shared between Obuasi Ash Gold and Kerala United.
Here is Esso. Tries to go for glory from the distance. Is a decent attempt from again. He tries an ambitious effort, and the goalkeeper thought it was going away, but it clips the bar, and that is unlucky there from Esso there. You can see he knew exactly what he was doing. Had a space. He sent a left back. Swings one in. Basil got a head on it. That's the first goal of the game. Karelas Humin Mohamed breaks the deadlock. Brilliant delivery from the midfielder. The composure, the technique, and clearly Kofi Mensah could have done better. You can see that reaction from the coach. Here is Eric Esso. Now Seth Osei. Opoko Ajiman. Can he equalize? It's a goal mount clearance. Is it a goal? Did the ball cross the line? It's given a penalty. Penalty. So Anna, you can see it again. Lovely play from the forward. He had to clear the ball, but then unfortunately it hit his arm. For me, I don't think it's a definite penalty for him. Referee whistles. Opoko Ajiman steps forward and he scores. Ash Gold back on level terms. It's 1-1 in Obuasi. Great penalty this. I mean, you can see that he knew exactly what he was doing, picked his spot and his dispatch. It's Christopher Nete. That's not to find Isaac upon goal. You can see that incident again. I mean, there was contact. Ganu steps forward. Here is Ganu, and he scores brilliantly. Kotoko up by 1-0. Expertly converted penalty from Abdul Ismail. Here is Ganu, and he scores brilliantly. Kotoko off stoppage time. Kotoko pushing for a second. Here is Upon again. This time, referee will whistle for a foul. Moros cross in, header from the Cameroonian, and it is falling. It's more like it, and this is another chance again from that young chap. Isaac upon creating lots of problems, but then what a cross from Imoro and an expert header from Samobwati, the man who scored 18 goals already. He's not had many chances today, but a good striker of his quality, of his caliber. When you give him space and time, he will punish you, and definitely he punished him. The Cameroonian striker was lurking, but it was always falling for Asante wide.
Again, Accra Great Olympics came forward, and this time around it was Maxwell Abekwe carefully flighted up, beating Apiakubi, going straight into the net. He tried it again, but this time he hit the crossbar. Consistency on the part of Maxwell Abekwe. God blast went wide. They did not give up corner kick. A corner kick was on, and then goal into the net for that equalizing goal for Accra Lions. They were led by captain. For Maxwell Abekwe, capitalized on a mistake by Apiakubi and then got the second goal for the game. That was the mistake by the goalkeeper, and then floated straight behind him into the yawning net for Accra Olympics. And on the third occasion, it was Maxwell Abekwe from the spot getting a trick on the evening for Accra Great Olympics.
Let's hear from the head coach of Kumasi Asante Kotoko, Prosper Nate Argum, who feels that his team trusts in their process.
Look at how tactically the game was. They were very defensively organized, and because of that, they didn't allow us to play those penetrative passes, and it was difficult for us to actually get the ball behind their defense.
Second game running, and you seem to be scoring late in your game. So what is the real reason behind that?
Yeah, we still keep to our game plan. We always trust in our process. Even when it's difficult, we trust that we can still score. So no matter the situation, we don't change our style. We keep to the shape, we keep to the game plan, we keep to the principles involved in the game plan, and that's what we've been doing.
A good project you've begun here. Is it going to be a force to really reckon with in the Ghana Premier League this season?
Yeah, I think we've just started. So with time, it's a game model. It's a new game model. I'm trying to develop, and I'm trying to put in them, build in them. So it will take some time. So with time, I think one, they will be used to the game model, and two, they will be used to playing in front of a very big crowd like this at the Baba Yara Sports.
Ghana FA President Keta Okreko has called on the Ghana Police Service to help them sanitize football in the country. According to Mr. Okreko, hooligans have sullied the country's most prized sport, and the police is required to fix the game.
Over the years, we've had numerous engagements with the police service, and it is very true that sometimes members of the police force, because they are part of the community, becomes very used to the community, for which reason when people go wayward, the strict application of the law becomes a challenge. Most often we live within the confines of the sports facility, the stadia, so we are used to each other, we are friends, we eat together. So when we misbehave, we forget that the police service can act. At the end, we've had instances where football people, consumers of football, even use what we call pepper spray on police officers, and they go home scot-free. I believe that when people misbehave at our game venues, when they go wayward, it's important that we bring them to book. It's important that we push them to learn to behave well, And it's important for everybody to understand that our law exists and laws can be enforced in our country. For which reason, my IG, I will respectfully ask that the CID department of your unit become more engaging, especially when we have people who go wayward in the sport. In most recent times, IG and your team, match fixing has also reared its head in our football ecosystem.
And talking of match fixing, the police say this major canker in Ghana football is one thing they will work with the Ghana FA to ensure that it is eradicated.
It's by its mandate. Yes. By its mandate, we are to investigate such matters. And by so doing, they will be referred to specialized desks, to look into it. And if should there be evidence, those people will be put before court. And the GFA had made it clear that they will support the effort of the police. And we know that match fixing, match manipulations have that consequential effect in terms of violence, in terms of fighting, among other things. And I believe that the GFA step to nip that aspect in the bud is a very key one, and it will allow to see good league, and people might be happy, to see any outcome that may crop up at any of the grounds.
And talking of match fixing, the IGP told clubs that attended the meeting that if you fix any of the matches, the Ghana Police Service will also fix you. Now let's go to England, where West Ham United stunned Liverpool as they secured a huge victory that moved them above their opponents into third in the Premier League and dented the rest title hopes. Liverpool went into this game looking to set a new club record of 26 league games unbeaten, as well as get a win that would move them to second and within a point of leaders Chelsea. The World Cup qualifiers returns this week. The Black Stars of Ghana are expected in town today. They will leave the shores of the country on Tuesday to South Africa for the game against Ethiopia and return and host South Africa at the Cape Coast Sports Stadium. This fixture is the defining game of whether Ghana will qualify to the FIFA World Cup or not. We've also picked up intel that Tema Youth have withdrawn their case against the Ghana Football Association at the Court of Arbitration for Sport. We'll be sharing details with you in our subsequent bulletins. I am Muftau Nabila Abda, and this has been AM Sports on the AM Show.
All right, so thank you very much to Muftau for the sports. Now, the other issues we're dealing with this morning on the AM show, first of all, has to do with the National Identification Authority and the Ghana card issues. There are many of you who have sent in your questions. You've been asking questions since the National Identification Authority put out that press release indicating the schedule that they're going to follow in the issuance of the Ghana cards. So we have a number of questions coming up. You've posted your questions on Facebook, and we have a number of them. So Joe Nyami says, my question is, what extra data does the NIA want to gather from someone who has at least 3 or more nationally accepted ID cards? One might have the voter's ID, driver license, national health insurance card, SNIT card, passport, as well as on government of Ghana payroll, where biometric data is taken. Why can't such a person automatically qualify to attain an NIA card, but have to join long queue and now needs to pay a huge amount of money to get all these IDs put together as one card for him or her? Why? At least 3 or more IDs should be enough for a Ghana card. Now, this is your question. One of the things you brought up has to do with the fact that you're paying a huge amount. I don't know which huge amount you're talking about. Unless you're going for premium, the Ghana card is free at this point. So we have Daobi Chichi who says, why do we need to register our SIMs again twice in a year? Isn't it time wasting? And Alex Ban says it's been difficult using the Ghana card to register new SIM. Why? So Well, the NIA is in studio. Abdul Ganiyu, who's the communications or public affairs unit of the NIA, is in the studio, and we'll be getting into that in a bit. But the other thing I want us to talk about has to do with the weather phenomenon we're dealing with. One, we have the tidal wave issue in Keta and surrounding communities, and then we also have some rains last night. And there may be people who may be affected, but I just want to get to the Ghana Meteo for them to tell us exactly what the situation is. And Joshua Asamoah is a forecaster and is joining me via Zoom now. Good morning to you, Joshua, and it's great to speak with you again.
Good morning, Israel. It's great to be back.
Yeah. So we had some downpour last night. Can you tell us how widespread it was and how significant it was?
Okay, so it was actually widespread for southern Ghana. Areas in the forest zone of the country and the coastal parts where the rains actually affected. So we had the rains across the coastal and then the forest zones of the country. It actually started in the evening over areas in the Volta and eastern regions, persisted for a while, and then those of us along the coast started experiencing ours from after midnight into this dawn hours.
All right, so do we know if the rain was that significant to probably have caused some havoc in some parts of some floods in the areas where it poured?
Well, I'm here to verify that, but the rainfall amount that we've seen this morning, it's possible to cause some flooding in some areas, but it also depends on the area that we're talking about. The very active part of the storm actually affected the eastern Volta and parts of the Ashanti region. So for us along the coast, we didn't really see the effect that much. So flooding might not really be like what we used to see, because the rainfall amounts that I'm seeing this morning are quite low. They are around 20 millimeters and stuff. So it depends on the area. It could cause some flooding over some areas, but I'm not sure this will cause some widespread flooding cases in Accra.
Can we expect some more rain in the coming days or weeks?
Yes, we are still in the minor rainy season, even though the rains are actually subsiding for us in the south. But we are still in the minor rainy season, so there's still a possibility of rainfall. Just that the frequency will not be much like what we experienced in October, which was the peak of the minor rainy season. So we'll still get some rainfall, but then the intensity and the frequency will be lesser.
And so we should expect it until when?
It depends on the area. For areas in the Bono and a half regions, the rains are likely to cease by mid-November towards the last week in November. But then for areas in the northern parts of the Ashanti region, around the Ibra areas, towards Leji areas, it should cease around the same time. But for the southern parts of the Ashanti region, it should cease towards the latter parts of November into December. And then for us in the coastal portions of the country, ours should come out around the latter parts of November into December. But the rains will not just go off completely. So even in December, there's still a possibility that we'll be getting some rainfall. There's that probably have some 2 or 3 rainy days for the whole of the month. So we'll still get some rainfall in December, just that the frequency, like I said earlier, will be very, very low.
And you're saying that all this is very normal?
Actually, yes. Not normal per se, but for the past few years, I think those who have been observant will actually confirm that this has been the case. Last year, in December, we didn't have Ramadan. Actually, in January, we're still experiencing rainfall around Takrady, about 120 millimeters was experienced in January, which was supposed to be the dry season. So the pattern is changing in recent years. So in comparing with the past few years, it seems normal to have rainfall around this time. But if we should compare with the climatological data in the past 30 years, then we probably would be thinking of some abnormality in the rainfall we are seeing around this time.
Does it have anything to do with climate change?
Yes, it has. This is some of the effects of climate change that we'll be seeing. There's going to be some changes in the patterns of rainfall. You could have very severe thundery and rainfall activities in some areas, while other areas will also be seeing some little or no rainfall at all. So it's at the both sides of the coin. Some will be having dry conditions while some will be having moist conditions, and then will also affect the patterns in rainfall activities. So these are all some signs of climate change.
All right, now I'm sure you're also aware of what is happening in Keta and the surrounding communities where we're having some tidal waves there. What can you tell us about the situation?
All right, so I'm sure the sea defense that government was building was just to stop some of these tides from coming towards people who are living close to the sea. Again, this also goes back to changes in weather conditions or changes in climatic conditions over the past years. One of the effects or things that we expect from climate change is sea level rise. Once the sea level is rising, you would expect that areas close to the sea would be experiencing some conditions which will not be favorable. And so all these things can be linked with changes in climatic conditions over our area, because ice is melting. Once the ice melts, it will probably find its way into the ocean, which will cause the ocean to rise because there's global rise in temperature. And so these are all linked to each other. Temperature is rising, causing ice to melt, and the ice is also melting, causing the sea level to rise, which will then displace people who are living closer to the sea. So they are all connected in a way.
All right, thank you very much, Joshua Asamoah. So as you heard Joshua Asamoah explain, climate change affects us in various ways. It may be that the polar caps are melting, the ice is melting, the sea levels are rising, and so communities that happen to be under sea level can expect that once the sea breaches onto the land, you can expect that your communities are going to be flooded. This is a conversation that we need to be taking seriously. Climate change is real and it's impacting. It is also impacting, as you heard him say, when it comes to the rain. So we'll be going back to the situation in Keta and surrounding communities and get to understand what the situation is like for the people who have been displaced. But up next on the AM show, we're having a conversation on the Ghana card. Do stay tuned in. We're back in a bit. All right, so we're now getting into our conversation on the Ghana card and the many questions that you have coming through. Abdul Ganiyu, he's the head corporate affairs at the National Identification Authority. He's with us in the studio. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
And thank you for making time to join us.
Thank you very much.
I'm sure you've been going through the questions that people have posted, but I want us to first start off the last time when you came in.
Yes.
You indicated that the NIA will be opening its district and
regional
offices. So there are more than 270 plus. 291 offices. So we're expecting that was going to happen. It was supposed to be at the end of October.
Sure.
Eventually, you put out a schedule, a press release that indicated that you're starting from November 3.
Exactly.
I believe. But it turns out that from November 3, people can't just get their cards. You've rolled out a schedule. So walk us through the schedule.
Okay, so the schedule is very simple. We ended a refresher training for the staff that we recruited. That was on the 31st of October, last week, Sunday. And we opened the offices on the 3rd of November, 2021. So up to the 5th of November, we decided that for newly recruited staff going to the districts and regions to work, most of whom are going to these towns and villages for the very first time, there was a need for us to do some more stakeholder engagement, some sensitization and whatnot. So that took place from the 3rd to the 5th, so ending last week Friday. So from today, the 8th of November, all the way to the 16th of November, we are going to be issuing cards that have been in backlog since the end of mass registration.
Okay.
So basically,
so the first phase is for people who have already issued their cards,
who have already registered but haven't
received their cards.
Absolutely. So haven't received their cards yet. So we are going to be doing the issuance from today up to the 16th of November. Then from the 17th of November, we will start what we call the new registration. So persons who have not yet registered for the Ghana card at all, they will now be able to register from the 17th of November. So that goes all the way. I mean, so as long as we continue to be present in the regions and the districts. Then you'd also have some other category of people who have lost their cards are damaged, they want to do replacements. So replacement of cards will start on the 29th of November. Okay. And whilst doing replacement, we'll also be able to do updates. So people with wrong spelling of names, people who want to add names to their present names, so on and so forth. So all those updates would also start on the 29th of November. So this is a schedule that we have put out. And the last bit is the registration of Ghanaians who are below 15 years. So we work out the modalities, all the measures that have to be put in place, and we would issue another release to that effect when we are ready.
Okay, so one of the schedule you have for the people who are now new registrants, how long is it going to take them when they register before they get their card?
Yeah, so it's expected to be instant. During mass registration, there were some challenges, obviously, to do with internet connectivity. But in these offices that we have set up, having conducted a survey, we are quite sure that internet at these offices will be much better. And for people turning up to register, the most important thing is satisfying the requirements and making sure that whatever data you are giving us is accurate, is consistent, and you should be able to walk away with your card instantly.
How long do you estimate it's going to take if they get in and start the process?
Yes, normally it will depend on the number of people queuing for the interview to take place. So once the interviewing is done, it's a matter of entering the data by the data entry clerk. And the process, within 5 to 10 minutes, your card should get printed. Not sure.
From the process, from the point where
the data is entered. Yes, Israel. I don't know what process you went through, but for others who have been at the various offices that we set up before the establishment of these permanent officers.
Okay.
Once they went there and they met very few people at the point of the interview, once the interview is conducted and the data is entered, 5 minutes, it's enough. And you get your card instantly. So people can testify to this.
Okay, I want you to once again tell us when the new registration starts.
So that will be from the 17th.
From the 17th until
17th November, the perpetuity. I mean, so as long as we have national presence. I mean, the difficulty was always we not being present across the regions and districts. So we have come to stay like any other state institution. So you just walk into any of our regional or district office and you'll be able to seek these services.
But they're also talking about those who want to do corrections.
Who wants to do corrections or so corrections or updates, you know, to their present data.
Theirs will start when?
So theirs will start on the 29th.
On 29th. So it will be alongside new registration.
Exactly. So it will be alongside the new registration. Then for persons whose cards are lost or damaged, they can also come for replacement starting from the 17th as well.
Okay. Yeah. And let's be sure about this. This is going to be free.
Yes. So as long as you turning up at the regional or district office, registration will be free for new applicants. So these are persons who have not registered for the Ghana card at all. So they are doing so for the first time, and that will be free. But for persons who are coming for their cards to be replaced, so you have lost the card, you've gone to the police for a police extract, you've come to the NIA, NIA will print a new card for you at a cost of 30 Ghana cedis.
Okay.
And we've always mentioned that. Now, for persons who are coming for updates, if the update does not lead to the printing of a new card, you don't pay anything. So say, for example, you lived at a particular place at the time of registration. Now you've moved to a different place. You want that record to be updated. It doesn't lead to the printing of a new card.
Okay.
So you don't pay a dime. But for persons who must do changes to names, for instance, which will normally appear on the face of the card, it will mean that a new card has to be printed for you.
Okay.
And that is where you pay the 30 Ghana cedis charge as well.
All right, so let's get on to Facebook. There are a number of questions, and we'll have to go through as many of them as possible. So let's go to our Facebook page where you have been asking your questions, and let's get to run through the questions. And at some point, if possible, we're going to open the phone lines and get to take some of your questions as well. So let's go on to Facebook. But before we do that, or whilst we put up the Facebook post, there's I got a question to someone who is asking, is the Ghana card going to replace the dual citizenship card? This is somebody who lives abroad.
Yes, I mean, you still need a dual citizenship card. A dual citizenship card is just to prove that you have now acquired another citizenship or nationality. And that is what you actually need as a dual citizen to be able to register for the Ghana card. Because at that point, you are most likely to have both a Ghanaian passport and a foreign passport as well. So for us to prove that indeed you are still a citizen of Ghana, you turn up with your dual citizenship card before we register you for the Ghana card. And we've had those instances quite a lot where our compatriots abroad come to the registration center possessing a foreign passport. And in fact, it's surprising because mostly that's what they like to travel with, even though they can still travel with a Ghanaian passport. So when you come that way, insisting that you are a Ghanaian, our suspicion could be that you have probably denounced your Ghanaian citizenship. So we would want you to come with a dual citizenship certificate or card as proof that you are still a Ghanaian before we register you for the Ghana card. It's very simple. I mean, last week I had quite a lot of these issues to deal with at the headquarters, because every now and then you have them come in possession of a foreign passport, yet they insist that they are Ghanaians.
Yeah.
And these things, it's document based. We need to be able to prove this before we allow you into the national identification system.
But then if they have the pass with the Ghana passport, then that wouldn't be an
Absolutely. I mean, once you come with a Ghana passport, that qualifies you straight away. So it's either the Ghana passport or your Ghanaian birth certificate, and there you get to register. But just as I indicated, so some will come with a foreign passport.
Do you say birth certificate, Ghanaian birth certificate?
Yes. I mean, so let's say you were born in Ghana, for instance, and you acquired a Ghanaian birth certificate. So that still qualifies you to register for the Ghana card. You get me? So then you would have those people come with a foreign
Will the birth
passport.
certificate alone suffice?
Yes, the birth certificate alone. So it's either the birth certificate or the passport. Then you add the Ghana Post digital address. So for all the other sectoral IDs, once you bring them, they would just achieve the purpose of data harmonization.
Okay, let's get on to Facebook now. So please, my question is, I got a SIM card which was already registered in someone's name. So how can I use my Ghana card to register it? Okay, I'm not sure if Abdul is in a position to answer that. This is more like an NI question.
Yeah, so he has to go to the telecommunication service provider with the appropriate documentation, maybe with an affidavit, for instance, so that those changes can be made. But it's all this that we are trying to curb, the fact that people now have to re-register their SIM cards using the Ghana card.
Okay, so we have asked them for me, why is it that the telcos are asking for our fingerprints again for the same registration? Can't NIA provide the face fingerprint database to all required institutions to do their verification from? There's no need for any other institution to capture fingerprints. Citizens should always go to NIA to update such data.
Yeah, there's a need for this because it is another level of verification. So you may have gone through the process trying to register for a SIM, but no one can be sure whether you were the one who actually went through that process. So if you turn up at a telecommunication service provider with your fingerprints, they are able to validate that indeed you went through the process, because this whole thing is about avoiding identity theft. So if your Ghana card it's on the table, you turn away and I pick it, I can easily go through the process and use the card for any purpose, but it will still be in your name. So it's good that we all turn up so that the validation is done, ensuring that indeed you are the one who went through the process.
But I've heard the communications minister also indicate that they're looking at coming up with an app that you can get to register without having to go to the telcos.
Well, I don't know how that's going to work, but I think that these are issues that have come up at the technical committees, and we all have found the need to go through this particular process because you simply can't be sure.
There are people who are quite frail. They're old, they're frail, and they can't, it'll be difficult to move them. They're probably bedridden. How do you move them to the telco?
If there's another mechanism that would ensure that this is done, probably through intensive public education for people to know that they must do everything possible to protect their identity, and all of us can really go with that, then there will be no need turning up. But you just can't be sure. I mean, somebody's card can even get missing. It's lying somewhere on the street. Somebody picks up because the person has such a fraudulent intent. The person takes it and go through the process. So in the end, you would have re-registered SIMs or created an opportunity for people to use their Ghana card to register for SIM card, but you still have all the problems and all the bottlenecks that we are currently confronted with as far as use of SIM cards is concerned.
Okay, Abdul Razak, your namesake, he says, my name on the card was wrongly spelled, but I couldn't realize it for more than a year until now. Meanwhile, I've used the card to register for many things. Please, how can I solve this problem?
Yeah, so the person just needs to go to the district or the regional office with the appropriate documents, the documents that the person used in registering for the card, for instance. So it could be the birth certificate or the passport. So
I don't quite get it, but if you're out of the country, I think there's some arrangement for people who have their SIM cards. They're outside and they're using their SIM cards. Are you aware of that?
Yes, I know the NCA is working on something like that, just to ensure that people continue to use their SIM cards once they are outside Ghana, and then an opportunity for them to do the re-registration anytime they are back home. So those are issues that the NCA has to project, much more loudly for the good people of this country to know.
Okay, so Lord Jidodo says, yes, I have a big problem. Did you know about half of Ghanaians don't have the Ghana card? And after the Ghana card have been issued, you still can't use it at the bank. It says it's not in the system of the NIA. Ghana is a scam. Okay, so this is the inability to use the Ghana card. So some banks are not accepting, well, several banks are not accepting the Ghana card, and it's been a problem.
Yeah, that's because there's always a schedule. And I know that the banks have been given up to December to put in place whatever infrastructure they have to put in place to be able to verify the Ghana card. I mean, at NI's end, we are ready. We have been able to successfully build a verification platform that has been piloted successfully, but they have to acquire verification machines and
so
ensure
you're saying
that
the banks which don't have the verification
machines,
exactly, it's their problem.
It's their problem, basically. So they are supposed to put that in place, and we'll be able to verify any use of the Ghana card once the person turns up for any banking service in this country. So some banks have already done that.
Which are the banks that are accepting the Ghana card?
Yes, I know Cal Bank accepts it. I know Stanbic Bank, UBA. So these are banks that have invested already, and day in, day out, they are able to use the Ghana card. Banks that are yet to invest in this kind of infrastructure write to us every now and then to validate people's identity cards when they are applying to open bank accounts and whatnot, which can take a day or two before it is done. But the problem becomes the real-time verification. So you go to cash a check or make a transfer, immediately they have to be able to verify your identity. So it's a process, and I know the Bank of Ghana is working with them so that at some point you would have all the banks in Ghana being able to verify people's identities.
Sam Tuga says, I don't know why they removed all the other ID cards with the exception of Ghana card. Meanwhile, they have issues with the Ghana card. Living in a country where you cannot buy memory chip and use if you are in need of one. If voter ID can't be your identity card, then why are we using it for balloting? Okay, not sure about your question. Abbas, Alasan says, yes, sometimes you try to register a new customer, but the feedback will be that your Ghana card needs to be validated. Do we have issue where people's cards would have to be validated before they can register it?
Yes, I think the telecos probably would have to take another look at their system. Most of these cases have come to NIA, and mostly when we check with our system, everything about the card is right, and they should be able to go through that process. So the NCA and the telecos probably will have to take another look at the system, and then individuals who are also going through the process must ensure that they understand all the steps and they are able to go through it. In keying in the number, how the number should be keyed, normally it starts with a GHA before all the other numbers would follow, and you also have to avoid a hyphen, for instance, when you are entering the number. So these are some of the mistakes that people make, and when they come, you just go through the process with them and it's able to go through. Right. So I think that there's still some more education that has to happen at the level of the telecos and the NCA to get this thing going successfully.
Okay, so the next question on Facebook is from Alfred Shikafi Taylor. I'll be coming to that in a bit, but we're also opening the phone lines for you to join us with your questions. 030-221-1691 or 2. 030-221-1691 or 2. Give us a call. Let's get to hear from you. Whatever questions you have for Abdul Ghani from the National Identification Authority, we're ready to take them. So Alfred Shikafi Taylor says, my question is, if an authorized person uses your card to register his or her SIM, how will we know? The system should be made in a way that when one ID card is used for registering 2 or more SIMs, they should verify from the owner of the card, because a lot of job seekers send their cards to the job poster as a requirement in applying for jobs. Some of the mobile money vendors are also using people's cards. All right, so I guess that's what the NIA has been saying, that's why you're supposed to show up at the telco, so they validate your fingerprints and make sure that the card, you're the owner of the card that you're holding, and so you can't just sit in your home and do that. All right, GH Casti says, I didn't get mine. I came to the regional office last week, but the information was that on the 3rd, they'll be coming back to regional districts so that we can get it. But till now, I haven't seen nothing working around my area. And secondly, waste my time coming there, and it was a wasted journey there. I need this card for a lot of verifications. When people ask, it's easy to send every picture to. Okay, so he's saying that GH Casti says he's been to the regional office and there's nothing happening.
I don't think that's today, because today really it's where the offices are open for business. I told you that the offices were established on the 3rd, but we needed to do community education and sensitization, and
so it is
that
today.
ended on the 5th. So it's today onwards. The person should be able to go to the district office, and should find our officials there.
So we have some calls coming through. Jeffrey is calling from town. Hello, Jeffrey.
Yeah, hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I have a little challenge. I want the gentleman to help me sort it out.
Sure.
We registered in Sunyane. We've relocated to Accra. At the moment, I heard him saying we should go back to Sunyane for the cars.
Yes.
Now, considering the cost of moving to Accra, Sunyane from where we are now, is it possible for us to pay for a new car to be generated for us as where we are?
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, that will amount to double registration. And
no, he's asking if they could pay for the new card to be printed.
Yes.
Yeah, so the point I'm making is that the card has already been printed, and wherever it is lying, we should be able to issue it. It's going to come at a very huge cost, like I indicated earlier, and no 2 cards are supposed to be printed or in the possession of anyone.
No, okay.
So that's the point.
Jeffrey, let me just help you here.
Yes.
Isn't it possible?
Yes.
For one to have your card, maybe a copy of your card? A second.
No, not at all. When your card is lost or damaged, you come for a replacement. But under no circumstance should 2 cards be printed at the same time.
So your card, your card may be lost. Or what if Jeffrey?
So exactly. So if your card is lost, so that's where you report to the police, so that you have given the police an indication that the card is lost. So the police issues
required a police report.
Yes. So the police issues the extract. Then you come to the NIA for a replacement to be done. But in this case, the card is not lost. Do you get me? So once the card is not lost and it's been printed already, we cannot print a new card when there's nothing wrong with the card that has been printed.
Okay, so Jeffrey, it looks like you have to go back to Sunyani.
It's expensive.
Yeah, but under the circumstances.
You see, there are very few places that you can acquire a passport, for instance. So that if I was in Tamale and I've applied for a passport in Accra and they tell me it's printed, I have to travel all the way to Accra and get my passport issued to me. So it's the kind of importance that we place on the Ghana card.
Right.
That will make us travel to anywhere to find it. And you have to do so because eventually, without the Ghana card, many of these services you will not be able to access them.
Okay. Joe is calling from Brekum. Hello, Joe.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. I would like to ask, registration is still ongoing. Other people to have issues with their earlier cards. Why is the NIA don't complete all the registration before other organizations or organizations can come in to use the Ghana card to work? Because it came up that the government workers in November should all migrate to the Ghana card, and it became a panic within the system. So why is NIA not completing all registration, making sure about 90% of the population is happy, or about 99% is then all other issues come up.
All right, so I'd want to look at it from this point. If we're waiting for everybody else to get their Ghana cards, can you imagine the crowd that's going to converge at the telcos, for instance, to want to get their SIM cards? I think it can work. We can work alongside.
Even the hue and cry about not using the Ghana card. I mean, when we started registration in the Greater Accra region, the few who got their cards were already expressing that concern. Why are you guys not using the card yet? I've just registered for the card. It's in my pocket. It is of no relevance, so on and so forth. And within the identity management space, once you are able to build a database of about 80% of your national population, you have what we call a national identification system. So at that point, you can put it to all the users that you've always aspired. And as we said, we've registered about 85% of that adult population. So the few who are yet to register, now they have the opportunity to do so through the regional and the district offices. So please, the state institutions have been waiting for some time now to simply piggyback on the database. And we are at that point. Senate is on board, GRH is on board, NHIS is on board, and all SNIT subscribers, for instance, at the moment have been validated in the system. Over 2 million of those people. So I think that it ought to be the way it is.
And again,
than any other way.
And again, I'd want to add that, yes, if we're waiting for everybody else to do that, and everybody else decides that, or there are some people who decide that they're not going to get the Ghana card, means we're going to wait forever.
Exactly.
So, yes. We have Sadiq calling from Accra. Hello, Sadiq.
Good morning, Israel.
Good morning.
Please, I want to find out from the gentleman. I registered in the Central Gonja district.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I misplaced my card. But I have a copy of the card on my phone, because normally when I'm going out, because I fear to misplace it, and I have this shot on my phone. So whenever I go and they ask me for it, that is what I produce. So in this scenario, do I have to go back to Central Gonja district for the replacement, or I can still have my replacement in Accra here because of job. I'm relocated.
All right, Abdul Ghani is going to answer that.
Yeah, so replacement, you can do it right here in Accra.
Okay, so Sadiq, you can go to
the NI head office.
Yeah, the NI head office, or can he go to a district office?
He should go to the NI head office because replacement, as I indicated, will start on the 17th. So I'm sure there's a card that
if he wants to
wait.
Okay, so but if he can wait,
up to the 17th, then he can go to any of the district offices.
Okay, so Sadiq, you got that right? All right, we have Florence from Casper. Hello, Florence. Hello, Florence. We lost Florence. We have Idrisu from Nima. Hello, Idrisu.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. My problem is my sister registered in Nima here, but I learned the NIA vendor is operating in Osu, whilst Nima is in Ayawaso East. I don't know how come the vendor of Ayawaso East work in Osu. So I just want to know if there is something that...
How's that possible?
I don't get it. Nima is in Ayawaso, right?
Idrisu, you have to explain again. You're saying that your sister registered where?
She registered in Nima.
Yeah.
But she wanted to collect a card, and then the vendor said it's operating in Osu.
Vendor?
Office.
Hold on.
Vendor, I really don't.
Which vendor are you talking about?
NIA vendor. Like operators. They said that their system, they set up their system at Osu GRE. Then I said, you are the vendor of Ayawaso East. Why are you operating in Osu?
So those were the 34 registration centers we had initially.
Okay, so
located at premises
Idrisu,
of Ghana Revenue Authority.
Yeah. Idrisu, when did your sister register?
ACC Lima class of school.
When?
During the March registration.
Exactly. So the card will be part of the backlog cards that will now be issued in the district and regional offices. So NIMA must be found within a particular constituency or district. So from today, NI would have an office there, so that when the person goes, that card will be issued as well.
Idrisu, is that clear?
We spoke to the director or the one in charge, and he said because he doesn't get office in Nima or Ayawaso East, that's why he's operating in Osu. I don't know.
No, so that I just explained that. So at that time, we opened these offices within the premises of GRA. So we didn't have the district and the regional offices. But from the 3rd of November, these offices are now open. So if Nima is within Ayawaso, that means in Ayawaso, NIA would have an office there. So if the person goes there today, those backlog cards within NIMA will be issued to persons who registered during the March registration.
Idrisu, is that clear?
Yeah, I'm clear.
Okay, thank you. We have Joe calling from Accra. Hello, Joe.
Hey, Israel, good morning.
Good morning.
I want you to please explain further that when the guy talked about getting his car from Sunyane, your guest referred him that if you want a passport and it is done in Tema and you are in Tema, you have to drive back. That to me is thinking backwards. We are going forward. We are digitalizing everything. Why can't the National Education Authority make it possible for somebody who has a card in Sudan and wants to pick it up in Kumasi, be able to do that easily and safely? All he has to do is to pay for the cost. He can go to the office and they will take his information to the person. The card will go to the office with a fee. We don't have to make people travel across the country just to go and pick a card. That is it. And if we are modernizing our system, this should be part of the modernization, and we should be able to do it for people to collect their cards at points where they are. They have to or to go and get a Ghana card.
Okay.
That makes it more difficult. But you should be able to do this.
Okay. So he's saying that why can't the NIA make it possible for people's cards to be dispatched to them by courier?
Well, this is an exception. So the system was fashioned in a way that once registration took place, you get issued with your card instantly. And most of the cards were issued instantly during mass registration. So now that the permanent regional and district officers have been set up, we do not anticipate a situation where people register, they have to wait for so long before they get their cards. So once you register in a particular district office, your card will be issued to you. So yes, the backlog cards is an exceptional case, and under the circumstance, that's the only thing we can do. It's quite unfortunate. But once those backlogs have been cleared, then going forward, we do not expect this situation
to arise where
exactly.
somebody's card will have to dispatch.
Yes. So really, if there will be no need, in my view, to make that kind of investments if it's just an exceptional situation.
Okay.
So going forward, that issue should be kept completely.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. We have Salifu on Facebook saying, I only have a question about the wrong digital address number plates they kept on houses in Tamale. Where did they get the names in naming those areas? Who did they consult? Did they even regard our district assemblies at all? Okay, I'm not sure if that's something that he can take. Isaac is calling from Kumasi. Hello, Isaac. Hello, Isaac. Hello, Isaac.
Yes, hello, sir.
Yes. So let's hear you.
When the exercise was being started, I wasn't around. So I just heard recently that the exercise is still going on. And I want to know from the gentleman at your studio that when again are they going to start the exercise again?
Okay, so we've been through that conversation. So now the registration is starting from the 17th.
Sure.
Registration for new cards. So if you don't have a card yet and you are yet to register, then it's starting from the 17th. But if you have already registered, then your card has been issued and it's available at in the district where you registered. So you can go back for the card.
I have not been registered yet. I'm yet to be registered.
So you wait up to the 17th.
So you have to wait until the 17th.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Welcome. All right, that's Isaac calling from Kumasi. We have Frederick says, what if there is a change of name? Emmanuel Osei, but now the name on the Ghana card is Emmanuel Opon. Can he still register? Yeah, I don't get you. Emmanuel, what if there's a change of name? Emmanuel Osei, but now the name on the Ghana card is Emmanuel Opon.
Okay, so that means that at the time the person registered, he was called Emmanuel Opon. And that's what is on the Ghana card.
Okay.
But the person has since changed the name.
Okay.
So
it means he would have to get a new
exactly.
card.
So he has to get an affidavit, he has to gazette it, and then come to NIA for a replacement to be done, for a new card to be printed at the cost of 30 Ghana cedis.
Okay, Kutina says, Kutina Richard says, I wish you host MTN Ghana to explain to us why sudden change in their promotions. Oh. How does that have anything to do with the conversation we're having? All right, but thank you. We have Philip Doe says, please, is there any means that they can email us ID in form of QR, the ID in the form of QR code, so we can use it for now, because some of us who registered are finding it difficult to get the cards itself. You get it?
Yes. The card has to be issued. I mean, it's very much possible that there are problems. So as far as data that you gave us is concerned, so that adjudication process must take place, and eventually a card is printed and claimed before it can be issued to you. So if you are not sure about all these processes, you can't just go into the system and begin to pull out people Ghana card numbers and be giving it to them. It doesn't work like that.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, Abdul Ganiyu, for making time to speak with us. So Abdul Ganiyu has been answering your questions, but we still have people who have questions. I don't know if the NIA can get to our Facebook page and have someone reply to some of the questions that they have.
So I'll set up my officers to do that today, right?
Yes. Okay. So it's there. I mean, the questions are there, and I'm sure others will be posting their questions. So if someone can just go there and answer.
I follow you quite a lot, so probably I'll answer some of them as well.
I'd appreciate that. Okay. So thank you very much, Abdul Ganiyu. He is the Corporate Affairs Manager at the National Identification Authority. He's been answering your questions. And he's promised that he's going to get his officers to go on Facebook and also get to still answer many of the questions that we probably may not have covered in this in the conversation this morning. You're watching the AM show. As I indicated, we're going to be talking about Keta, getting to Keta to find out what the situation is there. Be getting an update. To stay tuned in. We'll be back in a bit. All right, so let's go to Keta now and get to understand what is happening as far as the victims of the tidal waves phenomenon is concerned. Ivy Tetsoji is joining us. Hello, Ivy.
Asia.
All right, so we're learning that thousands of people have been displaced. We have a firm figure on the number of people who have been affected. And what exactly happened?
For now, according to the NADMO and then the MCA, there are about 3,000 people who have been displaced in Keta municipality. That is Abutiakope, Kejikope, and Keta Central. And also about 1,000 residents displaced in Angoga district as well. So in all for Angoga and Keta district, we have about 4,000 people displaced. In Adina, in the Keta South municipality, we don't have any figure yet, but the seawater has splashed to the road, making the road unmotorable. For now, the people are homeless, and most of them are staying with their families and friends, and so government does something about it. Schools are closed down for the meantime because in those areas that have been affected, children cannot go to school or walk through the water to the school. Economic activities have been affected as well. So for now, they are just waiting on government authorities to come to their aid immediately, maybe with some relief items. And what they are really asking of is the sea defense wall to be constructed to protect the coastal line. And that, according to them, is the only solution to this particular problem.
All right, so these communities that you mentioned that have been affected, we understand that the sea has made its way onto the land. Is it that all these communities are underwater, or they're just sections of it?
Okay, so this is it. In Keta, we have something like some communities are between the lagoon and then the river. The streets divide the lagoon. The lagoon is on the other side, and then the sea is also on the other side. So when it happens, when the tidal waves or the sea comes to the homes of these people, destroying their properties, okay? So in Keta, those areas are mentioned like Abutiakope, Kejikope, and Keta Central. These people currently are in water. The sea came to the house or displaced them. So they are currently, their homes are currently in the water. And when we go to the Angoga district, where we have the islands, we've been reporting on the Fuveme for years. Now, Fuveme people were relocated to another place called Agokeji. Agokeji is also an island like Fuveme. Now, Agokeji is also now displaced now. So it's also full with sea water. So those people on the island are between the sea and then the river. Okay, so they are also displaced because of the ravaging of the sea. Now, when you go to Keta South, Adina and Agaveji, for example, it is the same issue. But fortunately, the homes were not so much affected like the main street where the seawater splashed from the main street, making the road, the main road, very unmotorable. So mostly these areas are between the river, the lagoon, and then the sea, making it difficult for these people to cope anytime there is a highway.
Right, so there are some communities you indicate they are islands. Does it mean that for those places, I guess if the seawater or if the sea makes its way, essentially, virtually the entire island is going to be submerged. Even though you're going to have some things out of the sprouting on top of the water, the land itself will be covered.
Exactly, the land is covered. Now, we used to have Pokpogbo, which is also an island. It's totally gone. It's just about 2 or 3 buildings left in Pokpogbo. Puveme is almost gone now. If care is not taken, Puveme will be totally gone, submit to the sea. Now, where they relocated these people in Agokeji, which is also another island, is also affected by the seawater yesterday. So right now, the people on the island is devastating because they are on the island, and so their case is getting worse by the day because they are on the island, and the sea has easier access to them, okay, than the other people. So their case is getting worse by the day. Now in Jita as well, Jita is not an island community, but it links to the island. That is where you pass through Anyani before you take a boat to the island. Now Jita is also affected. We had the seawater which covered the main route linking to Anyani areas. That is also part of the Angoga district. So with all these people are all displaced because of the seawater that came onto their homes, as you can see on the...
Ivy, I also want to understand and get our viewers to understand, how did this happen? Did it happen gradually as in the water was coming, or the sea was making its way onto the land gradually, or it just all of a sudden just swooshed ashore?
Normally all of a sudden. It depends on the waves, and it depends on what happens. Sometimes when it rains, it becomes a problem, okay? And at this time, we were not expecting this to happen at this particular time. So it came as a surprise. It was so sudden. So people were just there at dawn, and then the seawater out of nowhere just came, displacing all the people. So sometimes it depends on the waves. Sometimes it comes gradually, and the people know that something is happening, and some of them are able to quickly take some of their properties out. But this time around, according to the residents we spoke to, it just came suddenly. They were just there, and it just came suddenly, without any notice. So there was nothing they could do about the situation. At that particular moment, it happened. And surprisingly, it happened in all these coastal areas. That is Angoga district, Keta district, and Keta South district. It all happened like that.
So we've been reporting this for a while now. Would you say this is the most would you say this is the most severe?
Yes, I can say it is the most severe because it happens at the same time in 3 districts or 3 municipalities, affecting a lot of people. Looking at the number, only Keta alone is 3,000 people displaced, and Angoga district on the island and Jita is 1,000. And for now, we are yet to have the figure for Keta South. Okay, so this particular time is, I can say, is worse than any other time or previously. And Israel, if government doesn't do anything about this situation quickly, according to the resident, they know there's no money, and the construction of the state defense wall is a lot of money, right? But then, if government doesn't do anything urgently about the situation in these communities, these 3 districts, it's going to get worse, and some few years to come, those areas will be totally wiped out into the sea.
All right, but I hope they also appreciate that the sea defense project can be put up in a matter of, it will take time.
Exactly, they know, but at least according to them, they want to see government committing, or they want to see government commitment towards it. Okay, the state defense wall has been put up in a few areas, but then it couldn't get to these areas that have been affected right now. So what they want from government is some level of commitment, not only giving them relief items anytime it happens, okay, yes, their livelihoods have been affected, but they want government commitment on this particular issue. Actually, they want to see something happening. For now, the people in Angoga district, that is Agokeji, Ejita, and those places, want to be relocated temporarily so that government can do something temporarily about the situation. The issue with relocation is these people are mostly fisher folks and farmers, and about 70% are fisher folks, okay? And this has been their source of income for years. And living those areas is difficult because, excuse me, most of them are not educated, and so this is what they rely on. So the issue is, how are they going to get jobs without certificates?
Yeah.
You get it? So this is the only thing they rely on to also feed their families. So it's a difficult situation, but still, they are hoping that government comes up with some brilliant idea to help them.
All right, thank you very much, Ivy Setoji, who's reporting on the situation in Keta and the surrounding communities. And we will stay with this story. We'll keep you posted and get to find out what NADMO is doing for the affected residents. You're still watching the AM show. We have the National Science and Math Quiz update coming up. You get to find out if your school has made it, because we know now the schools that have made it into the finals that will be taking place in Kumasi. Stay tuned in. We'll be back in a bit. All right, it's time for National Science and Maths Quiz, and Manuel Coranting, one of our National Science and Maths Quiz correspondents, is back in the studio. Welcome back.
Good to see you, Israel.
Yeah, good to see you too. You've been having fun, I guess.
Well, working. It's good to have fun while working. You know, it makes you more efficient, and yeah, your output is better.
Were you in the area which had
the philosopher
Ronnie Dross?
Oh yes. Hey, Charlie, no one. So there's a school called Drobo SHS.
Royal
Drobo SHS. Okay. Royal New Drobo SHS. Okay. So we have the Drobo SHS itself, which is Drossek, Mighty Dross. And then there's Royal.
They call themselves Mighty Dross.
Yes, Mighty Dross. And then there's Royal New Drobo, which is good morning again.
What's funny about that?
Yes, Ronnie Dross. It's like an amalgam, if you like.
No, you're
like an initial.
And you know, you're laughing at the same time. Trying to understand
Ronnie Dross. You know Ronnie Dross. You know the meaning of Ronnie Dross.
It's an acronym.
Okay, we leave it there. Bralai, we leave it there. Ronnie Dross. An acronym of Royal for Raw, New for Ne, and Drobo Senior High School.
You're making the matter worse. Which schools have made it to the final?
So we're not at the final stage yet. We are at the 1-8 stage. Now at the 1-8 stage.
So they made it to the 1-8 stage.
To the 1-8 stage. So what we've seen the past 2 weeks were the preliminary contest.
All right.
Now in the preliminary contest, schools that were not able to make it into the quarterfinals the previous year would have to compete against themselves, and you you try to cut down the numbers to be able to fit into the national competition. So
I've been misleading the people. I'm very sorry about that. I've been telling you that the schools have made it into the final. It's just a 1-8 stage. Sorry about that. Okay, so they made it to the 1-8 stage. How many schools in all are we looking at?
We're looking at 81.
81 schools.
Yes, schools to compete amongst themselves, and it's going to be serious. And we have 27 schools that entered the quarterfinals last year. And so those schools are already seeded.
By virtue of the fact that they were
in the quarterfinals, they are seeded. They've not been competing in the
preliminary if you were in the quarterfinals last year, you're automatically finding
Yes, you're protected. At least you will be in the 1-8 stage. So that's where you start competing this year. And that's what we are going to see the schools that were.
So you have the 27
seeded
schools on your screen right
So starting from the very top, the defending champions, Presbyterian Boys, Legon, they won last year. So they were there. Adisada was first runner-up. And then, of course, the rest, Pukuware, Accra Academy, Kumasi Academy. And I say Accra Academy with a lot of hope. That's this year, inshallah, will be the year. That's
Amen, hallelujah.
Well, I don't worry. So yes, we have Accra Academy, Kumasi Academy, Buamponsem SHS, Achimota School. We have St. Peter's SHS, Koforidua Sector, Ghana National College, Ebri Presby SHTS, Prempeh College, which has been a real force in the regional championship. They won in Ashanti region with 80 points.
Wow.
That's the highest we've seen so far in the year. Maybe we'll see higher scores in the 1/8 or in the quarters as the competition progresses. But so far, Prempeh College has that, high
So
point.
these 27 schools have made it into the 1/8 stage. And then others...
And then, no, these ones are the seeded. Yeah. And they're the ones who won their preliminary contest in the past 2 weeks that we've been seeing. So all the competitions where we've been reporting the past 2 weeks, the ones who won them automatically made it into the 1/8 stage.
Okay. How many schools are we looking at?
In total, we have 34.
34.
Yeah. So there's another, category, which they call the
39 apparently.
Yes, 39. Yes. Yeah. There's another category where you have the 15 high-scoring losing schools.
Okay.
So these are schools that, well, by virtue of their preliminary contest, did not win, but they didn't lose miserably also.
Right, so that's where Ebri girls
exactly.
And the rest are.
So and that chart is actually led by Medas, Tema Methodist School. They lost their contest, scoring 52 points. That is by miles, more than a lot of the other contests that we saw people winning.
Yeah.
For instance, Biheko, Bishop Herman won their contest with 38 points, and Tema Methodist lost with 52.
Wow.
And so these ones, Archbishop Potter girls, they are the defending champions, if you like, the reigning regional champions for the Western Zone. So in the regional championships in May, they beat all the schools in Western North, Western region, and eventually they could not win their preliminary contest, but they lost with 49 points, sealing them a spot in the 1/8 stage. The real juice in the list of 15 high-scoring losing schools was at the bottom. You had T.I. Amas for Mina, and then T.I. Amas Kumasi.
Oh.
In fact, there was a third school that also scored 35 points in Sutaman Catholic SHS. And so there had to be a tiebreaker contest to select the 2 out of the 3 who actually joined the 15 losing schools. And it was almost as though the TIMR schools conspired against the Catholic school. So eventually they kicked out the Catholic school. But that is what you have, 35 points TIMR Kumasi. It will interest you to know, Israel, that TIMR Kumasi, even though scored 35 in their preliminary contest, in the tiebreaker contest, scored 60 points. This was just a day apart.
Wow. Okay, so we know 81, you say, have qualified for the 1/8 stage. We have the 27 seeded schools, the 39 qualified through the prelims, and then the 15 losing schools, highest scoring losing schools. Okay, so at this point, we're bringing you the question of the day. Manuel Kranting has been around, and himself and Maxwell Agwagba. So you've been reporting on it. Now we're putting you to the test.
Yeah.
So the question of the day is the sum of 2 numbers is 72.
Okay.
Their difference is 40. Find the numbers. You need time.
They are different. The difference between the 2 numbers that we are adding is 40. Okay, I think the first number is supposed to be 49.
Okay, and the second number is?
And then the second number will be 23.
So 49 minus 23, what do you get?
Do 40. So I come again.
Go ahead.
Okay, so
second attempt.
Charlie, me say if I stand the national science and maths with I go lose. Yeah, that'll be why I can't do the goal. All right, so I'm going to take it again. 72. 2 numbers. If you add, you get 72. and the difference is 40. Okay, so if I subtract that one, I'm going to get 32. 32 and then 40. So 39 and 33. No.
Okay. Manual granting.
But like what about you?
56 and 16.
But like they give you the answer.
Really?
No, they give you the answer.
Really?
No.
You think I'm that dumb?
No, but like I'm not saying you're that dumb. No. But like they give you the answer.
What do you mean like they give me the answer?
There must be an independent commission to investigate.
I'm the electoral commissioner.
So how can the electoral commissioner? You are the one. You are the one. So yeah, you have the answer. You said the question. So you said the question. You know the answer.
Now you know what the.
Please,
now you know what the.
No. Let me just issue this disclaimer. This is not my real self. Yes, for my fans out there, this is not my real self. Know that the real Manuel Granting
is out there reporting.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Manuel Granting, for coming through, and great job to yourself and Maxwell Agbagba, who are out there, who have been out there covering the National Science and Maths Quiz. We're taking a break. We'll bring you showbiz next. Stay tuned.
You're welcome to Showbiz on the AM, and over the weekend there's been a lot of matches just for climate justice, and one place that the climate conference is going on at Glasgow has seen thousands and thousands of numbers of people on the streets, all from all works of the world, of the globe. And our musician Ochami Kwame, who is the World Climate Ambassador, was there, and also in at the seat in the room where all the presidents met. Rocky Daoni, who is also a musician from Ghana, was also at the seat and at the helm of affairs. Well, I have these two gentlemen joining me on Zoom right now. Good morning, gentlemen. How are you doing? Oshamigami, how are you doing?
Very, very good.
Okay. So, Oshamigami, to you first. Exactly what was the main, motive for the walk in Glasgow that you joined?
The walk was to signify a deep gap between the speeches that were made by the world leaders and what the world really wants. So, what we are hearing here is by the end of the century, we are hearing generic things that we are going to do something about it. And we are not hearing specifics, as in the next 7 years, we are going to cut our emissions by this percentage. And yes, so the 100,000 people that walked on Saturday, what we are saying is that we want our leaders to tell us specifically when they are going to stop mining fossil fuel. We want them to tell us specifically how much, for example, the G20, we want them to tell us specifically when they are going to unleash the $100 billion that they promised to give countries like ours, who are contributing only less than 4% of carbon emissions, and we were demanding for climate justice. Okay. That is why we walked in our numbers on Saturday.
Okay, hold on. Rocky, you were in the room where all these decisions were made. Was there, a conclusive decision to all these that those who were on the street were asking for? Hello, Rocky. Rocky Downey.
Yes.
Okay, good. So can you give me a response to that? You were in the room where all these decisions were made, where the head of states were. Was there a conclusive decision made on all these, petition, what the protesters are looking for?
Well, the issue is that this is a very complicated issue. There's no silver bullet solution as to this is what we're going to do. There's specific things. First of all, everybody knows that we need to just get away from fossil fuels. That is just the basic line. That the climate issue, we've come to the issue of unstable weather and all of that because countries have been using fossil fuel for a long time and the emissions are increasing, and we are literally past a certain threshold where right now, we either have to act dramatically or we got to deal with the repercussions. The repercussions are actually also happening right now, And I think that there's a big disconnect between the so-called developed countries and also our part of the world. I don't like using the word developing because I feel that those are all words that put people in a certain space. First of all, most of these, the emissions have been blamed on a lot of the developed countries, that this is a product of unchecked industrialization, unchecked consumption, unchecked capitalism, and then we've come to a certain stage where we need to solve these issues. But then the issues are not, it's being apportioned in a way whereby we, the countries too, that were not the polluters, are being made to some extent, there's no fairness as to what everybody has to contribute, And then there was a commitment too by a lot of these countries to really put a lot of money, which I think that as our leaders, our president and a few other leaders were talking about, that those targets too were never met. The money never came. But, I just think that a political solution is like, marking time in the same place. We outsource these kind of ideas and solutions to the politicians and industry. First of all, people know what to do. Okay. There are options. Africa should have for several years now, we should have embraced the concept of renewable energy. And we have the sun. We are like the biggest, the sun like literally melts us. Why are we not the leaders when it comes to all these? Yes.
Rocky, sorry, I don't mean to cut you, but there was a particular, this hasn't been the first COP conference. It's been like the 26th. Is there ever going to be a time when a decision is going to make for the COP at least to take a brief from meeting on climate change?
What I'm saying is that waiting for a political solution to solve this thing is like marking time in the same spot.
Okay.
Okay. The thing is that we have to change the way we do things. We have to stop. In Ghana, how many cars do we import here that the emissions, we don't even test the emission level? I mean, you only have to go to the port. You only have to see in the street. We import cars are driving in the street, emitting cars that are banned in certain places. We bring it here.
Okay.
I'm saying that the solution is not, nobody is dealing with the solution. Everybody is talking. The developed countries are saying, okay, now they say methane. We have a whole thing about methane. This, when you look at the minutiae and the intricacies of this, is something too that is being read as a geopolitical slap by countries like Russia and China. So it's like you can't turn any corner without somebody feeling that it is being utilized for some kind of big political idea. So for me, it's listening to the speeches of the leaders, but I think the most important thing is that we need to know, we the people, and the individuals need to know what role we can play in this. First of all, it's a CO2 issue. How do you deal with CO2 emission? By planting?
Rocky, sorry, hold on. Time is not our friend here, so we will have to continue on Hit FM this afternoon with this discourse and also the education. Oshamgami, thank you so very much. But in the afternoon around 1 o'clock, we'll get back to you on radio.
All right, my brother.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you so very much. And that will be time for Showbiz on the AM show. Easy. Well, you had a conversation that's been going on.
Yes, climate change is real. And we've been talking about what's happening in Keta. We've been talking about the change in the rainfall pattern. It all has to do with climate change. So certainly it's something that we should keep talking about. But thank you very much for bringing us show.
You're welcome.
We've heard of 5%, 10%, 15%, 20% discount, but never 50%. Sethi Realty is offering 50% discount on the dwelling properties. Prices starting from 210,000 cedis. That's like a price of a brand new car. So you need to take advantage of this. This offer is for a limited time. and on selected units. T's and C's apply. So if you're looking for a 2 or 3 bedroom home in a gated community, make sure you call Sethi Realty on 055-143-5555 or 055-143-8888 or visit them online via nyamidiagh.com. And the 2021 National Science and Maths Quiz is produced by Primetime Limited and sponsored by the Ghana Education Service in partnership with AFSA Ghana. Now, the broadcast of the National Science and Maths Quiz on Joy News is supported by Cowbell, Papa's Pizza, Ace Medical Insurance, Tampico, DBS Industries Limited, Smart App, ULessing, and Delay Yogurt. And that's how we wrap up the show for today. I'm Mr. Lai. Thank you very much for watching. Join us again tomorrow, same time, for another show. Have a wonderful day.